Merry Christmas. Good evening. It's great to have you all here tonight. My name is Dan Tynan. I'm a member of All Souls Church, and we have a very special Christmas Eve tonight. This is the first Christmas Eve we've been able to have in person for quite some time, for 2 years without it. And we're glad to have everyone here, and following we do have COVID cases on the rise, so we do encourage you to wear a mask or socially distance. Where it's not so much COVID as it is the other respiratory diseases are coming along with it, like RSV and the flu. So we're sorry we have to do this, and we can't do refreshments afterwards for the same reason. But we'll have a good Christmas Eve. I'd like to, Rob, you had something to say about our next we won't have a service tomorrow. All Souls won't have a Sunday morning service. We're putting all our cards onto this one. Did Rob go out of the room? Oh dear. Okay, he just was talking to me. He has some information about our a week after tomorrow, we're going to have a service on New Year's Day. And so he wants to invite you to that. And if he shows up, I will ask him for more information. This church is called All Souls for a reason. It comes from the old universalist idea that was revolutionary when it first appeared in the 1700s, early 1800s. The idea that the world isn't divided into the saved and the unsaved, the Christians and the heathens. We believe from centuries back that that is not the case, that in fact mankind is one, humankind is one, excuse me, and that the differences between us are interesting and do not need to be a cause for conflict. And tonight's presentation isn't your typical Christian New Year's Eve, although it has plenty of those things that we know from our memories. This is, All Souls is a Christian, Judeo-Christian heritage church. We nominally descend from the Pilgrims of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and we're one of the congregational churches that govern themselves and decide their ministers and decide their theology. And All Souls, as we come into an awareness of our own heritage, we can see the links between our Judeo-Christian heritage and the heritages of many other cultures. And my friend Jim Scott, who I first met when he was with the Paul Winter Consort, and we were at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City with doing the Winter Solstice concert. I was in a technical capacity. And Jim has made a presentation, a musical and talk and visual elements presentation that basically tries to unite all of our different heritages under one. Rob, do you have something to say about a week from tomorrow?
Funny you should mention that, Dan. Yes, first of all, though, as a member of the board and on behalf of all of the church leadership team, I want to extend a warm wish in the spirit of being a welcoming and inclusive church. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, a joyous Kwanzaa, a delightful Hanukkah, and a happy Halloween. We're not only an inclusive church, we think ahead. So that's why we want to give you advance notice that next week, right in this very building, there'll be another festive occasion and a wonderful way to ring in the new year. So if you can join us again this coming Sunday at 10:30, we'll have a lovely service, and at no extra charge, you're welcome to stay and be part of a potluck gathering. So both lovely ways to bring in the new year and share it together.
That'll be a week from tomorrow, right?
Right, a week from tomorrow, literally on New Year's Day.
Well, without further ado, Please welcome our friend and a person who's written some of the hymns in the hymn books in front of you, Jim Scott.
Thank you for coming. We weren't sure when we threw this party if you would be here or not. And welcome to those who are joining us on Zoom. Miracles of media. I'd like to wish you a happy Halloween, All Souls Day, Diwali, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, of course, Christmas, Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, and so on and so on. In the dark of this winter time, when the earth turns away from the sun, we need some celebrations to keep us happy and keep us going, keep the faith. So a little journey tonight through all different faiths, not all of them, but a lot of different faiths that observe this dark time of winter in one way or another. And somehow it says to me that we're more similar than we are different. I kind of think if Jesus came back, he would find that kale-flavored candy canes not interesting. I don't know if you heard that on the news, but they exist. They do. I didn't invent that. Thank you to Dan Tynan, who's a miracle worker around here, humanity's gift to the churches in the UU churches in Western Massachusetts, and my longtime friend. I would say old friend, but I was careful, are my longtime friend. And he's going to run the magic of a lot of scenery to go along with this. Humans have long observed the winter solstice. We know as early as the Neolithic period, the last part of the Stone Age, 10,000 years ago, ancient pagan and solstice rituals go back as old as the beginning of recorded human history. Neolithic monuments, Maeshowe in Scotland, Stonehenge, there's Stonehenge, in England, were early measurements of time. Before the railroads gave us unified time, time was a different thing. Time aligned with the sun for the time of day, the arrival of the seasons, and the winter solstice, the shortest day and longest night. The Roman festival of Saturnalia is a celebration of the god Saturn, and it was a big blowout party, and we won't go too far with that in this G-rated show. The Norse celebration of the Yule centered around fire, energy, light, and the burning of the Yule log. The Yule eventually was conflated with Christmas, as many such celebrations were adapted to make Christian celebrations in this time, and it became a Christian celebration in about the 4th century. Holly and ivy and such greenery as mistletoe were used in pre-Christian times to ward off evil spirits, also to celebrate new growth that does start in the winter. Christians wanted to keep the greenery, and the prickly holly leaves came to represent the crown of thorns. In Scandinavia, it's known as the Christ thorn. And ivy tends to grow around something else. Representing to Christians a leaning on God or a deity for support. But pre-Christian, the solstice, perhaps we can start there. This is my song that was intentionally intended to be a kind of Renaissance or even medieval sounding thing. My words and my melody too, but stolen from a lot of good old ideas from long ago. And I'll sing a verse, and I'll bet you can pick it up and just mumble along with Jim. Ring the bells of solstice, joyful songs and chanting. Cast a circle, bring the seed we bless for the springtime planting. Try that. Ring the bells of solstice, joyful songs and chanting. Cast a circle, bring the seed we bless for the springtime planting. From the woods resplendent, holly and vows be taken. From resounding call to the unconquered sun awaken. Neath the snowy silence, all rebirth is now begotten. Morning born from darkness, deep in earth from times forgotten. Joyous new beginnings, winter's dark attending. Life in spiral dances, spun from endings never ending. You can just imagine the drums and tambourines and bells for that. We'll leave that to your imagination. So the harvest is the end of the year. In many calendars, the pre-Christian calendar, the harvest, the result of our year's work goes with the pagan end of the year, Samhain, and our Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Halloween, Scottish. Again, the Christians adapted the existing seasonal celebration for All Hallows Day, All Saints Day. Our American Thanksgiving has come to dominate the season. What a number, although that's not from the end of one year to the next year's beginning, it kind of is. And John Greenleaf Whittier wrote a beautiful poem of ecological gratitude, I guess you might say, with words that I set to music. Once more the liberal year laughs out, for richer stores than gems or gold. Once more with harvest song and shout, is nature's bloodless triumph told. stores than gems or gold. Once more with harvest song and shout is nature's bloodless triumph told. Diwali is a Hindu festival of lights celebrated between mid-October and mid-November. Diwali symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, of good over evil, of knowledge over ignorance. And the festival's widely associated with Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. And I'm not really good with Hindu, so I'm not going to sing a song there, but there's a beautiful little children's song that goes, like that you can Google that. So stories of children destined for greatness and divinity, a child destined for greatness and divinity, where the elders of the royalty go searching, following a heavenly sign to a child born of poor surroundings that they're expecting to be their savior. Zoroaster, nearly 4,000 years ago in Persia, now Iran, one of many stories like this. Dates of Zoroaster's birth are not exactly known. Zoroaster, though, foreshadows so many Jewish, Christian, and Muslim cultures, followers of Zarathustera, who is Zoroaster, if you know what is now called the theme from the movie 2001, which is also sprach Zarathustra, also spoke Zarathustra. It is not a large religion these days, but Freddie Mercury of Queen, his family were followers of Zoroastrian religion. So they celebrate Shabe Yalda on the longest and darkest night of the year. It's not Zoroaster's birth, it's just a celebration of the season. It's followed 40 days later with the fire festival of Sade. So this is just a little Shabe Yalda song. Is one of the Yoruba goddesses, creator god, and its primary deity. She is the primary deity of the Orisha. Nanaburuku is benevolent. She gives us long nights in the winter to give us extra rest. This is a West African song. You'll like it better after I do that. Minuit, midnight in French. Midnight can be dangerous. The dark of night can be dangerous when you're surrounded by animals. But the darkness is a safe time for the animals. Minuit in French gets an extra syllable in this West African pronunciation. Minuit, s'amuser. Midnight amuses itself. That's all it says. Nothing to worry about. What was that? As with these cyclical songs, there's a bunch of melodies and they all go together. So I can't do them all by myself. So you can help. Anybody else in these advanced societies, they don't bother with audience. Singing is for everybody. So the little village support. Hala, 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 hala. That's it. Hala, 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 hala. Keep that going. Now if you've forgotten the melody of oh yeah, I hear music and I keep on singing. La 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 la. Night has come. I hear music and I keep on singing. Summer's there, minuit, minuit, summer's there, minuit. La 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 la. Minuit, summer's there, minuit, minuit, summer's there, minuit. La 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 Here are some examples of some festivals around the world. Some others, I guess. After we celebrate the darkness, let's celebrate the light. In Peru, Inti Rami, the sun god, kind of fell out of fashion for a few centuries. This winter celebration comes in June because it's in the Southern Hemisphere. The Incan celebration of Inti Rami is also a celebration of the fruits of the earth because they are coming in this time, although it's the dark time of the year. It's not midwintry unless you're really up in the mountains. It has come back to be widely celebrated, though, in contemporary times. And here's just a little Andy Peruvian Brazil, Iemanja, another Yoruba goddess of the water, takes on a number of different forms in some Caribbean countries. Iemanja, Yamoja in the Caribbean. But this song in Brazil, she's Iemanja, sometimes spelled Y-E, but in Brazil, in Portuguese, I-E-M-A-N-J-I, Iemanja. And she's also sometimes the goddess of the moon for the darkness. In Brazil, Iemanja is asked for her blessing of the fishing boats. Just put this little thing back down here. around the longest night of the year, celebrations of light or fire calling back the sun thread through all religions. It wasn't that long ago that we didn't have electric lights, messing up our circadian rhythms. Fire was the thing. Fire was energy. Fire was light, and was heat, was energy. I set some solstice words, I call it longest night, to an old Jewish tradition melody you might know as Rivers of Babylon. Light of our hearts, fires burning bright, we dream of the spring this winter's night. Try that. Light of our hearts, fires burning bright, we dream of the spring this winter's night. Surely the earth is turning from dark to light. Surely the earth is turning from dark to light. Gathered friends in reverence here, we celebrate the longest night. Gathered friends in reverence here, we celebrate the longest night. Those three stanzas, lines go together in a little round. Light of our hearts, fires burning bright, light we dream of the spring this winter's. Let's do the whole thing first. Surely the earth is turning from dark to light. Gathered friends in reverence here, we celebrate the longest night. Light of our hearts, fires burning bright, we dream of the spring this winter. Someone can start again. Surely the earth is turning from dark to light. Gathered friends in reverence here, we celebrate the longest night. Light of our hearts, fires burning bright, we dream of the spring this winter's night. Surely the earth is turning into dark to light. Gathered friends in reverence here, we celebrate the longest night. Gathered friends in reverence here, we celebrate the longest night. One more. Gathered friends in reverence here, we celebrate the longest night. The Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, Dongxi, is not quite the arrival of winter, but winter. And it is the lunar calendar. The most festive time in China, huge celebrations, dragons, fireworks, and feasts. If my daughter was here, she could sing this whole thing to you in Chinese. I'm just gonna go la la la. No, that's the wrong key. How about this key? La 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 la. That's too high. You can do that. their figures into those celebrations, pagan to Zoroastrian to Hindu to Jewish. As I said before, electric lights. This is what we had. We don't have a lot of exposed flame these days in our typical environment, and energy is more mysterious coming from the wall, but fire has been a constant companion in human history. The Jewish celebration of light and the miracle of oil burning that lasted for the 8 days. Hanukkah is celebrated for 8 days, and 8 calendars are lit on the menorah, one for each day, and then there's an extra one above that lights the others. This is a Ladino, that is Spanish Jewish children's song, where I guess you learn to count by counting the candles. And I'm thinking about what key it is. Ocho candelas para mí, bacana linda para aquí. Ocho candelitas para mí. Uno candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas. Ocho candelicas para mí. Oops, that's me. Ocho candelas para mí, Hanukkah linda para aquí. Ocho candelas para mí. Uno candelica, dos candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas. Ocho candelas para mí. Hanukkah is celebrated with fun and with dreidels. It commemorates the Maccabean revolt, so it is a military victory against the Seleucid Empire, where they regained control of Jerusalem and dedicated the Second Temple. And we all know the controversy of how this is also a place for Christians and a place for Muslims. Peter Yarrow's great song warns us not to lose the idealism of that victory. Light one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks for their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. And light one candle for the wisdom to know that the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light Santa Lucia, St. Lucy's Day, girls dress up in white gowns and wear wreaths of candles on their heads. Usually not burning flames these days, but symbolic candles. Around 300 AD, legend has it, Lucia brought food to the Christians hiding in the catacombs. She used candles on her head, leaving her hands free to carry the food. Her feast day is now celebrated on the solstice. St. Lucy is celebrated in Italy, but then through Hungary and Croatia. And then there's the island of Santa Lucia in the Caribbean. Boatmen in Venice sing of St. Lucy, and she's also grown to be connected with water now. Now 'neath the silver moon, ocean is glowing, o'er the calm billows, soft winds are blowing. Here balmy breezes blow, pure joys invite us, as we gently row, all things delight us. Hark how the sailors cry, joyously echoes nigh. Santa Lucia, Santa Christmas is an immigrant story. Joseph and Mary have to travel to give birth to Jesus in a land where they are not appreciated. They are discriminated against. Hanukkah marks the end of a long journey for the Israelites. And many more. We come to this Christmas season, though, this Christmas season, in the midst of news every day of the mistreatment of refugees, the vilification of immigrants, the separation of a child from parents. It all tests our humanity and our love. For we are all transient. Our home is not in one place on this earth. If we have a home, it is this earth. Who has a claim of ownership of this earth? The water, the soil, the air. Who deserves freedom and security? Who has the right to deny it? This is my song. No, this is tuning up. But just a little ritual of attunement we do before we start. A little social work to get these 6 vibrating individuals to agree before we start, to come to some consensus. I think that's good now. This is my song, though I think you'll recognize the 3rd verse. We are but immigrants, refugees from ports on so with dreams and hope will not ever be our own. Our children's paths, not ours, but adventures theirs alone. We are wanderers and seekers for the passage safely home. Of salt and water born, of one ocean we are made, gifts of love from fertile soil, so is life's foundation laid. Find rest and refuge here, though our wandering never done. May this haven bless all journeys. Welcome, traveler, we are one. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. For those yearning to breathe free, refuse of your teeming shore. Send the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Here are three takes on Christmas in the diverse Americas. The well-known Huron Carol, begins in the dark of wintertime. The song has become controversial, though, to some. It's become a controversial issue. It was written by Europeans as part of converting native people to Christianity. But then that didn't prevent them from being forcibly removed from their land. Not a happy story. But the song is reborn, I think, with these words by Dana Lynn Seaborn that tell of an indigenous mythology. We gather at midwinter dark to share this hallowed night. Within the donghouse, warm and dry, the fire glows with light. Our elders sing a teaching song. It fills the night that lingers long. Here is our sacred home, beneath heaven's dome. The shining stars proclaim the night. Here is our sacred home, beneath heaven's dome. The shining stars proclaim the night. Sky woman came from above, but found no place to stand. Then Toad put mud on Turtle's back, and that became the land. Sky woman died in giving birth. Her holy body fed the earth. Here is our sacred home, beneath heaven's dome. Then shining stars proclaim the this season of generosity and peace, can't avoid the context of racism and inequality that still persists in this free country of ours. But that faith is an inspiration, and I can get into the story of a poor child with great promise. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. You can do it. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept there watching over silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. One more time. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. That Jesus Christ is born. That Jesus Christ is born. Well, those are so many songs of celebration. I just have to put more in. It's gonna be in this key, I think. No, that's not gonna be the right key. How about here? Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? Well, I'm gonna send thee one by one for the little baby who was born in Bethlehem. Another counting song. Well, children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee two by two for Joseph and Mary, one for the little baby who was born in Bethlehem. Three, children, go where I send thee. How will I send thee? I'm gonna send thee three by three for the Hebrew children, two for Joseph and Mary, one for the little baby who was born in Bethlehem. Well, this song could be pretty long if we go to 10 or 12. Let's just do from 10 countdown. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 10 by 10, 10 for the 10 commandments, 9 for the 9 dressed so fine, 8 for the 8 that stood at the gate, 7 for the 7 that never got to heaven, 6 for the 6 that never got fixed, 5 for the gospel preachers, 4 for the 4 knocking at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Joseph and Mary, 1 for the little bitty baby who was born in Bethlehem. Who was born in Bethlehem. Hispanic, Latina, Latino Americans also, of course, provide us a rich history of Christmas lore and celebration. The first Spanish-speaking Europeans that came to this country and invaded the indigenous people, though again, through a backdrop of oppression and rejection, as we build walls to keep anyone named Jesus out, we'll give a popular song that should make us happy. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero años, felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero años, felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas for the love of my heart. Wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. From the bottom of my heart. I loved Jose Feliciano when I was a kid. Here was this guy, he can't see, and he's playing the guitar amazingly good. He went from playing at the Newport Folk Festival and being discovered as this, wow, this guy, to being a superstar. We could hope. So how many other beings, how might other beings, I find myself asking, if I could say it right, how might other beings view this Jesus story? Well, I like this perspective. Let's see. Jesus, our brother, kind and good, was humbly born in a stable rude, and the friendly beasts around him stood. Jesus, our brother, kind and good. I said the donkey, shaggy and brown, I carried his mother uphill and down. I carried her safely to Bethlehem town. I said the donkey, shaggy and brown. I said the cow, all white and red, I gave him my manger for his bed. I gave him my hay to pillow his head. I said the cow, all white and red. I said the sheep with curly horn, I gave him my wool for his blanket warm. He wore my coat on Christmas morn. I said the sheep with curly horn. I said the dove from the rafters high, I cooed him to sleep that he should not cry. We cooed him to sleep, my love and I said the dove from the rafters high. And all the beasts by some good spell in the stable dark complete Christmas without Saint Nicholas. He was a monk in 3rd century Lycia in present-day Turkey. Legends tell of his saving 3 young girls from slavery by giving the father money for a dowry. This was not a legal thing for him to do, but he dropped the money down the chimney. And legend has it that first gift fell into a stocking hanging to dry. A devout Christian, he later served as the Bishop of Myra. He's a real person. Then centuries of a slow transformation. Saint Nick goes to Europe and Scandinavia, where he rides a sleigh pulled by reindeer to deliver his presents. Kris Kringle and Saint Nicholas seem to get mixed up, and in France, he was Père Noël. In Austria, though, Santa and Krampus work together, or apart, against each other. Good cop, bad cop, really, that dates back to pre-Germanic paganism in the region. The son of the Norse god in the underworld, Krampus, has to do with fire and coal. If you would get a lump of coal and see how mean he is, he pulls that poor girl's hair. But Santa Claus became popular, although it was kind of ruled out a bit in early Christian America, or Christian-dominated America. Let me be sure I don't say Christian America. Santa Claus became popular in 1823. The famous "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" put Santa Claus on the map. It was published, yes, it was published by Condé Nast Publications. Saint Nick now has 8 reindeer, and they have names, and they fly. And Santa comes down the chimney himself, a good feat for a hefty guy. Santa now lives at the North Pole, as we know. So Nast Publications are the ones who gave him the first illustration of a red-suited Santa. But for a century, Santa has been set by Coca-Cola, the image of his appearance as we now know him. Let's see. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. We'll do it this way. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. That's creepy. He knows when you're awake. Stay sleepy. He knows if you've been bad or good. So you better be good for goodness sake. Well, you better watch out. You better not cry. Better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Yes, Santa Claus is coming to town. Look out. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better be good. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, well, that's got a bunch of different versions these days. Whatever is going on in the world these days, now, in our news that I find hard to take sometimes, in my privileged existence, much of it does not touch me directly. For that, I am grateful. But whatever is going on in the world, the birth of a child in the dark of winter is something we all can get excited about. It gives us faith in the future. It makes us feel like one big family. Any child. Ancient story lived again, dark of longest night, birth of this song is in our Unitarian Universalist hymn book, the teal-colored one. But don't look it up right now. New life fragile yet complete. Life from love once more. Universal miracle. Faith in life restore. The harmony of all the world lulls the newborn child to sleep. Rest, it's gonna rhyme. Welcome, dreamer, safely sleep, radiant on your mother's breast. May our wonder never cease, nature's greatest art. Birth and breath of life again warms the coldest heart. Now rich and simple gifts bestowed, sacred promises well made, reverence and hope renewed, gathered all around the babe. Vision for humanity all around the child, loving as one family all around the child. Life passages well understood, known and felt around the earth. Rich or poor, we each are blessed by the miracle of birth. I seem to have pages here that are not telling me what to do. I know what we're going to do. I had some words to say, though, about peace. Peace is where you find it, and if you can't find it, we must make it. Our seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism, as Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate the goal of peace and world community. I wish there were some more words there. A.J. Muste, a great philosopher, said, there is no way to peace, but peace is the way. I wish it said the way of peace, not just the goal of peace. But we hold these goals to be self-evident. So there's the goal. In this time of year, kind of starting with Thanksgiving or maybe even before, we get generous. It's studied, it's measured. We part with stuff. We give gifts. As it gets cold, we get generous. And peace is sometimes made in the midst of the worst of differences, the worst of wars, worst of fighting. So I think, Dan, I want to invite Dan to come and help us. So we have a ritual we've done here historically, and we're going to invite you to be part of this tonight, to make a little peace right here. This singing together we've been doing, it's a peace rehearsal. Put ourselves in harmony, just in case we'd like to take it home with us.
As part of
as part of this tradition, I would just like to acknowledge those of you who were here in the past many years that we always used to have a story by Irma Marie Jones here sitting in a chair and reading this Christmas story to us. And Irma Marie passed away this year, and we honor her virtual presence here tonight. Was everyone given a candle on their way in? Okay, if you would form a circle, there might not be enough of us to go all the way around. I'm not sure here. If you can form a circle all the way around, we're gonna take one candle and light a candle, and that light is going to pass around the room. So come on out here to the edges. Out here to the edges, and we'll see how we can do it. We might have to cut through a pew here. No, we don't have to be holding hands or anything like that. Let's see here. Can I grab a candle? We are so grateful for your presence here, well, we're not going to actually, one thing we're going to skip tonight is we usually process out. But given how cold it is and a couple other things, and the fact that we didn't get to sing a lot of familiar Christmas carols, once we're done with Silent Night, you may take your candles out, but we're going to stay here and sing a few more carols to sing us out into the evening. You should all know the words, although someone should have hit the slide. Can't do everything. All right. Yeah, just do the next one.
of this would be a good place to end, but that was the concert, that was the service, and here's the encore. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Angels we have heard on high, singing sweetly o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strain. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. La 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 la. Tis the season to be jolly. La 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel. La 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 Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, Christ the Lord. You can just hum. La, da, da,
Thank you for spending your Christmas Eve with us. We hope that this has been a meaningful and joyous experience for you, no matter where you're coming from or where you're going to this holiday season. Go now into the night in peace and stay warm. Thank you.